Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 5 MLB Player Props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate. But first, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how I did last night. And yes, guys, the hot streak, it just keeps on rolling. Jumping on over to GuyBostonSports.com, I had 5 player props I handed out in yesterday's video. Unfortunately, Juan Soto scratched from the lineup. But no fear, the other 4 player props we had, 3 of them hit. 1 of them did not hit. Of course, unfortunately, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. did not strike out. However, we did hit the other 3 player props. So a 3-1 night last night. The hot streak continues. We are now 23-5, just like the thumbnail says. 23-5 just since last Monday. So within the last week and a half, we are 23-5. We are now 58-44 on the season. From the unit perspective, despite being 14 wins over 500, we're only up 2 units profit on the year. That's because earlier in the year, we had a lot of big unit plays that did not come through for us. But we are now over 500, 58-44. We're handing out way more winners than we are losers. And since like early April, we're 46-19. So incredible run right now. We are one of the hottest bettors on the planet right now. Again, 23-5 just in the last 10 days. And I have zero intention of slowing down that hot streak. So let's keep the good times rolling here, guys. 5 more player props coming to you guys in today's video right now. Now, we have a very early slate for today's MLB picks. So trying to get this video out as early as I can. So I do apologize if it's not early enough. I try to give you guys at least 3 hours to go ahead and get these picks in for some of the earlier games. Not all of them. The final 2 are not until 10 o'clock at night. But our first player prop in today's slate comes from the Nationals-Braves game, 12:15 p.m. first pitch. We're going Josh Bell of the Washington Nationals under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're grabbing that one right now for -135 on BetMGM. It is available on multiple sportsbooks for varying odds. And for a -135 player prop, the data across the board is absolutely fantastic. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed this under, averaging just 0.7 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10 games. Now, he has recorded a hit in 4 straight games, but just nothing more than this single hit. So no RBIs, no runs. But again, looking really good across the board, the entire season data. A 73% hit rate on the year, 27 out of 37 games. He's cashed the under, averaging 1.22 hits, runs, RBIs per game this season. So again, struggling. For him, it sucks. For us, it's obviously really good in this spot. Does it feel weird that I'm preying on this man's downfall? Sometimes, but it also wins me money, so I'll keep praying on his downfall. Josh Bell, if you guys have been watching my video, has been a constant. I think I've bet on him like 4 or 5 times this year now. He's been a cash cow for me this year. Look at the head-to-head data as well. 7 of his last 9 matchups with the Atlanta Braves. 7 of his last 9 with the Atlanta Braves, he's cashed the under. It's a 78% hit rate, averaging 1.22 hits, runs, RBIs per game over their last 9 matchups. So far this year, they played 3 times, obviously all in this 4-game series. He's cashed the under, like we mentioned, all 3 games this year. So 100% hit rate this season against Atlanta. So phenomenal data across the board. We also have the insights provided by Outlier. Josh Bell has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 8 of his last 9 games on the road, averaging just 0.9 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 9 road games. So really phenomenal data. And then looking down below at the key matchup stats, Josh Bell batting 143 this year with a 48.6 WRC plus. Versus right-handed pitchers, you do see some increases in those numbers, but even at the increased line, it's still not good at all. 163 batting average, yes, it's better than it was before, but it's still really, really bad. And then same thing with the WRC plus, 60.3. Yes, it's better than 48.6. That's how math works, but it's still not a very good number there. And then looking at A.J. Smith-Shawver, the pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, having a decent season versus left-handed batters. His numbers do look better in some categories, I should say. Batting average allowed, nice drop to 172. His WOBA, nice drop to 231. His home runs per 9, a slight uptick from 0.8 to 0.9, very minor increase there. And his ERA does increase from 276 to 284, but again, 284 is still not a bad number. So pretty good matchup data there. The only key thing to consider here is the fact that Josh Bell obviously is a switch hitter, so he's primarily batting lefty. That's the data we have to go off of, so they're primarily putting him as left-handed batter here. But Josh Bell could bat righty. And looking at Smith-Shawver's numbers here, obviously versus right-handed batters, not having as much success. That batting average allowed is going to be a lot higher. So that's something to keep in mind. But Josh Bell, either way, versus right-handed pitchers, still batting just 163 on the year. All right, guys, our second player prop in today's slate, we have another under to go ahead and look at here. Royce Lewis in the Twins-Orioles game, 12:35 p.m. first pitch. We got Royce Lewis of the Minnesota Twins under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're grabbing this one for -115 over on BetMGM. Again, it's available on multiple sports books for varying odds. For -115, pretty phenomenal data here as well. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, averaging just 0.4 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10 games. Now, to be totally fair, he hasn't played a ton of games this year. Look at the overall season data. Just 8 games played this season, but 7 of those 8 games, he's cashed the under. It's an 88% hit rate so far this year, averaging 0.5 hits, runs, RBIs per game so far this season. Small sample size, yes, but going off of what we have to go off of, he's been pretty consistent in cashing the under. Besides this one game on May 11th versus the Giants, he's cashed the under in every other game he's played this season, including both games so far in this series and yesterday's doubleheader. And from a head-to-head perspective, 8 consecutive matchups with the Baltimore Orioles, he's cashed this under. 100% hit rate in the head-to-head category, averaging just 0.13 hits, runs, RBIs per game against Baltimore. He's played them already 5 times so far this year. 0-5 against Baltimore this season. So having some rough times against the Orioles here, which obviously fares very well for us. Insight provided by Outlier, Royce Lewis has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 10 of his last 11 games. That, of course, dates back to last season, averaging just 0.4 hits, runs, RBIs per game across the last 11 games. And again, so far with 2025 data, incredibly small sample size, but 25 plate appearances this year, 0.087 batting average with a negative 28.1 WRC plus. Versus right-handed pitchers, his batting average actually decreases. His WRC plus decreases. So, again, it's tough to go off of because only 19 plate appearances this year. Versus right-handed pitchers, it's a small sample size. But with what we have to go off of, Royce Lewis is very much struggling this year. And looking at the matchup here with Tomoyuki Sugano. Listen, name pronunciation, not my forte. Handing out winning player props, yes, that's my forte. Name pronunciation, not so much. But Tomoyuki, having a solid year with the Orioles versus right-handed batters, all of his key categories, except for ERA, actually decreased. Batting average allowed, home runs per 9, WOBA, they all decrease. His ERA does increase when facing off with right-handed batters, but everything else decreases. So it's a pretty good spot here from a matchup perspective. You have a batter who is not played a lot of games this year. In the games he's played, he's been pretty terrible against a pitcher who's been pretty solid. I just don't see this being the game where Royce Lewis kind of wakes up and gets the bat going. So I love this as the second player prop in today's video. We're about to hit the 8-minute mark in today's video, guys. So if you are still watching today's video at this point, please comment 8 down below. Yesterday, I had you guys write out hottest man alive. Some of you guys fell for that trap. Some of you guys did not fall for the trap there. You sniffed out what I was going for there. Kudos to you, but I appreciate the good comments. Showing people that, yeah, people on YouTube saying I'm the hottest man alive. Just, little ego boost there. But you know what? I am actually, in terms of betting right now, the hottest man in baseball betting. I maybe there's somebody out there better than me right now, but 23-5 in the last 10 days. I don't know if you can get much better than that. And a legitimate 23-5 too. I mean, I'm showing you guys my picks every day. My records are updated daily. I mean, that's a legit 23-5. Some people a little more shady on YouTube. But so today, just comment 8 down below if you're still watching. And as always, guys, I appreciate those who watch through each and every single video. A lot of hard work, whether we win or we lose. A lot of hard work goes into these things, so we appreciate those who do stick around and watch through the video. All right, guys, our third player prop in today's slate. It's the last player prop from the earlier window of today's games. It's another under bet here. We have Josh Rojas of the White Sox in the White Sox-Reds game, 12:40 p.m. first pitch. Josh Rojas of the White Sox under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, -125 over on BetMGM, so pretty good value there. And yeah, guys, all these under player prop bets, the data's been pretty solid. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.1 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10. So far this year, a 75% hit rate on the under, 6 out of 8 games. Another one where he's only played 8 games this year, but in 6 of those 8 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 1 hits, runs, RBIs per game this year. Now, he's having a little more success than our last player prop here, but still pretty good data. From a head-to-head perspective, 3 of his last 4 matchups with the Reds, he's cashed the under. It's a 75% hit rate, with the majority of those head-to-head matchups taking place last season. He has played them once this year, May 13th, and he had 0 hits, 0 runs, and 0 RBIs. The insight provided by Outlier, Josh Rojas has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 4 of his last 5 games on the road. That's an average of 0.8 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 5 road games. So pretty good insight there provided by Outlier. By the way, guys, shout out to Outlier, sponsor of today's video and the best sports betting tool on the market. We do offer a special link down below in the description that gives you guys a 7-day free trial to go ahead and check it out for yourself. All the data, all the insight, all the information that you guys are seeing in this video is brought to you guys by Outlier. So go ahead and check it out for yourself. Link down below in the description, 7-day free trial. Shout out to Outlier for sponsoring all of our player prop videos here on the channel. We also have the key matchup stats here. Josh Rojas versus Nick Martinez, the starting pitcher for the Reds. 10 plate appearances since 2018. So pretty, not a huge sample size, but a decent sample size. 0 hits, 0 runs, 0 RBIs. I probably shouldn't be making that hand motion. I apologize for that image. I just realized what I was doing there. Pause. Literally pause. 10 plate appearances 2018, 0-0-0. The only thing he got on base once, so 100 OBP. But pretty good matchup there for us from a head-to-head perspective. And again, another one with a small sample size, but 28 plate appearances this year for Josh Rojas. 167 batting average with a 40.2 WRC plus. Versus right-handed pitchers, most of his plate appearances have been versus righties. 150 batting average, 40.7 WRC plus. Low numbers, but again, this is obviously a very small sample size to go off of. And Nick Martinez, his overall numbers are actually not great, but versus left-handed batters, they actually get better. ERA, batting average allowed, WOBA, they all drop a little bit. Still kind of high for my liking, 254 batting average allowed, 4.19 ERA. Those are a little high. But again, you're matching that up with a batter who is only batting 150 versus righties so far this year, and somebody who has yet to get a hit against Nick Martinez in 10 plate appearances. So when you put all that together with the fact that he's cashed this in 6 out of 8 games, pretty good track record versus Martinez in terms of the under, not so much for Rojas. I think it's a pretty solid player prop here. All right, guys, moving on. Our final 2 player props in today's video come from the Athletics-Dodgers game, 10:10 p.m. first pitch, so a massive difference in time here. All 3 of the first player props, all unders, all coming in like the 12:30, 12:40-ish range, and then the last 2, both overs, spoiler alert, both coming from the 10:10 Dodgers-Athletics game. So our 4th player prop overall and our first player prop from this game, we have Tyler Soderstrom of the, not Oakland A's, I guess the Sacramento A's. They're just the A's, but they are playing in Sacramento. A travesty that they're going to be the Las Vegas A's soon. But anyways, Tyler Soderstrom over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, -115 over on DraftKings is what we're grabbing it for. Now this player prop, the data is not as impressive as the previous 3, but still pretty solid overall. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.2 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10. Last 20 games, 55% hit rate, 11 of his last 20, averaging 2.1 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 20 games. And so far this year overall, a 56% hit rate on this over, 24 out of 43 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 2.4 hits, runs, RBIs per game this year. So like I said, pretty good numbers. Not as good as the previous few player props, but this one is still pretty solid. And from a head-to-head perspective, very small sample size. We just have the 2 games in this series thus far, but he's 1 and 2, I should say. The first game, May 13th, 0-0-0, just straight zeros across the board, despite the Athletics winning 11-1. He didn't register anything there. But yesterday, he had a massive game where the Dodgers won 9-3. He had 2 hits, 1 run, and 2 RBIs last night. So, much better game yesterday. Key matchup stats down below. Soderstrom versus Matt Sauer, I guess. 1 plate appearance since 2018. Nothing really. Again, it's 1 plate appearance, so very small sample size. But Tyler Soderstrom having a pretty solid year. 285 batting average overall, 141.7 WRC plus versus right-handed pitchers. Actually gets slightly better. His batting average, very minor increase to 287, but his WRC plus, nice little increase there to 158.6. And then looking at Matt Sauer, 154 ERA, 225 batting average allowed with a 217 WOBA. Versus left-handed batters, again, smaller sample size here. We've seen a couple of these player prop data points where it's small sample size. Looking at Matt, I'm just gonna call him Matt because I don't know if Sauer is the proper pronunciation. Proper pronunciation. I was stuttering there for a little bit. But Matt Sauer, 154 ERA, 225 batting average allowed. Only 42 batters faced, so take it with a grain of salt. Versus left-handed batters, again, only 18 batters faced that have been lefties. So take all that information with a grain of salt. But his numbers, massive jumps. 4.15 ERA, 375 batting average allowed, 357 WOBA. So all massive increases. Again, you have to take that with a grain of salt because of the fact that, he's only got 18 batters faced that are lefty. But versus left-handed batters, a lot worse. So parlay that with the fact that Soderstrom's hitting very well off of right-handed pitchers. I think you got a pretty good player prop on your hands here as the 4th player prop in today's video. And then wrapping these up, guys, our 5th and final player prop in today's video, we have Athletics, Dodgers, 10:10 p.m. first pitch. We got Mookie Betts of the Dodgers over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 140. Over on DraftKings, also available on BetMGM for minus 140. And again, solid, not great data, but solid data. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10 games. Even the last 20 games, 65% hit rate. So again, good, not great, but good. And the overall data so far this year, a 57% hit rate on this over. 23 out of 40 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.53 hits, runs, RBIs per game this season. So pretty good data there for the most part in the head-to-head category as well. Kind of similar with Tyler Soderstrom. Only the last 2 games in this series is what we have to go off of. And very similar to Tyler Soderstrom, the first game did not cash the over, but yesterday he did cash the over with 1 hit, 1 run, and 2 RBIs. Now looking down below, the insight provided by Outlier, Mookie Betts has exceeded 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 5 of his last 6 games at home, averaging a whopping 3.8 hits, runs, RBIs per game over the last 6 home games. So really good data at home playing in LA. So pretty solid there. Mookie Betts versus Osvaldo Bido. Kind of a crazy name there. 3 plate appearances in 2018. Nothing off him, but it's only 3 plate appearances. So it is a smaller sample size there. Mookie Betts hitting the ball pretty decent this year. 265 with a 117.1 WRC plus. Not really lighting the world on fire by any means, but having a solid year considering that he's got some health issues. Lost a lot of weight in the offseason. But versus right-handed pitchers, he's playing a lot better. 280 batting average, 121.1 WRC plus. So he's hitting the ball definitely better off of right-handed pitchers than he is left-handed pitchers. And looking at Osvaldo here, not great. 4.75, 2.88 ERA. Not great for him, I should say. Solid for us. And versus right-handed batters, those numbers do increase in our favor very kindly. 5.06 ERA, 3.30 batting average allowed, 4.11 WOBA. So really good matchup there, right? Mookie Betts hitting better off right-handed pitchers. Osvaldo having really bad numbers versus right-handed batters. It just kind of seems like a match made in heaven here. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay. Until then, though, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Thursday. Let's go ahead and make some money.